What did you want to speak about today?
Well, I sort of have doubts about starting a YouTube channel. Well, I already started it and I'm not really doubting it, but rather the process behind it. And that might be mostly influenced by my dad because my dad has a company as well. He has like a company in air conditioning and in, what is it, room temperature controlling. I don't know the exact details of the company, but he's worked on it for about like 12 years now, and it's scaled quite well. It's actually doing pretty good. But with YouTube, that type of success, so that level of income, that level of growth is promised in about 2 years, which is like, it seems so surreal to me that with a business like YouTube, even if you put in all that work, that it like gives you those rewards so incredibly fast. So my question is if you could help with debunking these like doubts about the whole YouTube system.
Yeah, of course. So, what exactly are the doubts?
Well, I doubt that YouTube itself can yield you can yield the rewards like such high incomes from the system so fast. So in 2 years, about 10K a month. That seems just surreal due to even though you put in the amount of effort that you possibly could, it still seems that with an online business in 2 years, in comparison to my dad, it seems so unnatural for a business to grow so fast.
Mm. I think that's the key point. You're comparing it to a completely different business style.
Yes, I realize that I compare it to a different business. However, it seems like it's almost too good to be true, the amount of growth you experience with online businesses and especially YouTube.
Why is it too good to be true?
Mm, it's actually a really good question. I think that I consider it too good to be true due to, even though it seems like it's a lot of work when you get behind like the screens, it's still, yeah, I mean, I'm comparing there again. The amount of work that you put in doesn't seem to match up. Sorry, no, the ratio of work to income doesn't seem to match up against anything else nowadays, like by a landslide.
Totally. That's the new age of work. It's leverage. And young people are finding this out before their fathers are these days.
Yeah, I'd agree, but I still don't really. I can't really wrap my head around it. How that's still like how that big gap still gets is valid. How that could even happen.
Mm. Okay, let me explain. So, to make a lot of money, what you need is leverage. Leverage is like a multiplier on your results. So, you know, in video games, sometimes you get like the perk, like 2x, and it suddenly you get double points, or sometimes you get like 4 times points, and that's the leverage. So your results go up depending on this lever here. The old way to make money was just with your labor, with just your time. Okay, I work in this job, I work for 8 hours per day, this is how much money. That's like a one-to-one leverage to results. Okay, I work for this long, this is how much money I get paid. We now get to benefit from media, from two things. Media, so content that we put out, and code for softwares. So with these two things, they are high leverage, which means that they're making you money 24/7. So suddenly this thing's just broken, right? This equation here is just irrelevant these days because my YouTube videos still make money whilst I sleep. So this thing of like, oh, but I work this long and this, it's suddenly just broken. So this idea of like, you know, you've said a few times today, like but you know, with how hard you work, you can make this much. It's no longer like the way to make money is no longer about how hard you work, because we can see this. Go and look at all the taxi drivers, the guys who work in the corner stores, the Uber Eats drivers. They work very hard. They work 12, 14 hours a day. They don't make much money because how hard you work is here. This is how much you can make with hard work. But with smart work, you can create media, content, Or maybe you can use code to make websites and softwares and stuff that make you money whilst you sleep. And suddenly you're not just employed with this one boss who's paying you, but suddenly you can have hundreds of thousands of people who are paying you. So then you get this leverage with your time, where the best job I could work right now, maybe I'd get paid maybe £100 an hour. But in 1 hour, I make about, I don't even know, 100 times that? A crazy amount. Because I can work for a boss and he has to pay me, or I can set up my own business, or I can record a YouTube video for my following of 2 million. And in 1 hour, I can make a video that genuinely pays me over 3,000. And that's just from YouTube AdSense. Never mind then if I mention in the video I got this product and this thing. But generally, an hour of my time is like above 10K these days. Because it's this leverage. So I think what your belief is stuck on is like, okay, but if you work, like you get paid depending on how hard you work. But it's not really true anymore. These days, you get paid depending on how many people you impact, the quantity, and also how much you impact them, the quality. How does that sound?
I'd say that made it quite a bit clearer. However, I still, in that case, I don't really understand yet how the impacts / the quantity of people. Well, I understand that if you have a big audience, of course, you're going to have an impact on a quantity of people and a quality of people, or sorry, a quality of work. Sorry. But is it really that like social media usage? So YouTube in this case, does it really just take 2 years to amount to such a big impact on people with such a quality of work?
I got there in 1 year.
Okay, that's yeah. Okay, that's valid, but then I'd be comparing my belief to what you have achieved, same as what I believe to what my dad's business has achieved. So wouldn't that just be the same thing then? The comparison?
In some ways, but I wouldn't see this as a comparison. I would look more as exposure. So you get exposed to someone else's level of success and you see that they're making this much money. So I made a lot more money the last 1 to 2 months because I got exposed to guys who were making way more than I was. Guys casually saying like, oh yeah, like, so 100K a month per month is like, yeah, that's okay. It's kind of small numbers. We don't really deal with anything under 8 figures. I'm seen as like the small fish in the ponds that I swim in now. So when you're exposed to that, it's not that I'm comparing myself to those guys. It's more that suddenly it's like, you know, on GTA, like on video games, if you look at the map sometimes, it's like, it's dark everywhere. But then when you explore the map, then it's lit up. It's like, oh, okay, that's where this thing is. That is how this thing works. Before you see it, it's all dark. And then when you speak to someone who's probably no smarter than you, who probably doesn't even work harder than you, he's just doing something different to you, and he's got 10 times your results. That's what, when you get hit with that realization.